Good afternoon. We are here for the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Health. We've got a hearing scheduled today at 5:15. Prior to that, we will jump right into action items. We've got no invoices. We do have the minutes from the July 15th, 2024 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Was I at that meeting? I did not get a chance to review that.
Do you want to take a second? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. All right, we're good.
All right. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I will second the motion.
All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. We have no disposal system construction permits.
Excuse me? We
Wait a minute.
had one that did not make it on the agenda because it got confusing. 632 Crescent Street. Outback Engineering is asking for the use of a sieve analysis in lieu of a perk test.
And that's the only variance requested?
Yep.
Can we address that if it's not on the agenda?
It wasn't on the agenda, it wasn't, no. Can you address it? Yes, you can address it and make a motion on that.
That's why I wanted to
It was Jean Marie put it in her health agent update, and if you don't want to do it here, where the agenda's stating none, you can either do it in, topics not reasonably anticipated, or you can wait till Jean Marie's health agent update.
Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll
Okay.
circle back on that one.
Yep.
We've got two applications for new construction, Webby Engineering and Driscoll Engineering.
Yes, and both of them I'm recommending not approving.
Not approving.
Neither one of them have perk tests or observation holes in the area that they propose to septic. If you want to take a look at the plans, I'll be happy to get them for you later. But
So-
by that, I mean, we're kind of far away. Well, probably 20 to 40 feet for each one of them.
Do you know what the average? What's
Good and then failed, like right next to each other kind of thing. That's why when I have a reserve area or a septic area that doesn't have holes and have that kind of inconsistent soils, I'm not comfortable saying to accept it because we have both types of soils on those lots. The West Street one was done in, the permits expired, and then when I went to review it for the permits, there was nothing in the septic system. And their septic is a 25 by 125 foot dig out. Both lots are marginal soils, i.e. wetlands issues, various types. So I'm not real comfortable approving something that doesn't have anything there. Plus, Title V does require that you have perks and observation holes in the area where you want to put the septic.
Okay, so that's Webby, Marvel Street, right?
Marvell Street and,
Okay, so I have a question on West Street.
okay,
So West Street, they're looking for permission to perk at the same time with construction. How rare is that? That's pretty rare, isn't it?
yes, it is.
I mean, because we don't have a chance to,
And if it was a sand and gravel pit, where I had like 20 or 30 holes on a bunch of lots and they all looked the same, I probably wouldn't be as uncomfortable as if I was in a place that 10 feet away is wetlands.
so my recommendation under West Street, again, the other board members can voice their concerns, or is that very reason that perking on the day of construction doesn't give the board enough time to, and you,
What if it doesn't work?
exactly, that's my point. So my recommendation is that's a no, get it perked, and then, we'll approve the results. And then again, I don't know, gentlemen, what your thoughts are.
I think that makes some sense. Is the situation on the Marvel Street?
Very similar. The West Street one is actually townhouses, 6 units. So you're talking a large size flow. Marble Street's a single-family home, but the same deal. You know,
Right.
we're gonna hit a lot of them. We're hitting marginal soils now.
Assume they don't perk, what's the next step for them and for us?
If you can't prove there's suitable material under the entire septic and the entire reserve area, then it's not, you can't sign the permit. It's new construction, it's not a repair. We don't have any options. It has to meet the code with 4 feet of suitable, a perk rate.
The whole 9 yards.
Decent, yeah, it does. That's what the code is minimum standards.
Now, wouldn't they be able to design a small system on site?
They actually have 2 perks on that property. They probably just need to take the reserve area
Okay.
and put it where the other perks worked.
Gotcha. But it was more, that was, I just
It's almost
answering Tom's question, like,
Yeah, no, I'm
what's
just trying
next
to
for
figure out
them?
what the options are if this doesn't.
My recommendation for the Marvel Way, take your reserve area that you designated and put it over the holes that worked. The ones in the proposed septic work. The ones between the proposed septic and the reserve area where they designated the reserve area don't work. So put it where those other holes are. It might be one on the left side of the house, one on the right side of the house, but
So either they need
they can do it.
They need a close perk test to where they want to put it that passes, or they need to swap it out to a different
Right,
area.
right.
Does it make sense to, well, I don't know if we need to deny these.
You don't, I just wanted to make, they submitted an application, I'm letting you know that it's not really completed and they need more information. In this case, redesigning what the reserve is, so it's over the holes that are acceptable, that's all.
When is our next meeting? Is
August 19th?
Can we send them a notice to say either retest or redesign?
I tried, they didn't get a response that came back, so I'll try another way of trying to get a hold of them. Their mailbox was full.
This email, or?
Both of them, the mailbox was full. We'll figure it, a letter will get there in time.
All right, so do we just want to take no action on both of those applications?
I would say that, yeah.
All right. Do you want to take a vote on that, or is that just something we can ignore at this point? Or not ignore, but push off a decision until next meeting?
We'll just not act on them until we get more information.
All right. Any,
So my other question is, these are all
New construction.
timed, right?
The what?
They're timed? Isn't there a clock that's ticking?
It was for
They're from
us.
when they submit?
Yeah,
Right.
it was for us. So as long as I send it back for more information or additional information, we've taken an action. So we're okay on those 2. Yeah, it's
I
general.
might want to deny it, like, without prejudice. So, just by sending them a letter, it stops the clock from ticking?
It's an action, so we're okay.
Okey-doke, all
Don't
right.
respond within 45 minutes and assumed approval. We're well within that timeframe.
all right, so yeah, let's send them both a letter request for either more information or altered plans. A couple minutes. We've got 3 food establishments. I guess just a change in business name for the outlet at Crescetti's, Virjala Inc., DBA Subway, and Club X Fitness. Is that a new owner for Subway?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, change in ownership.
And same thing at Club X?
Club X,
Yes.
I'll let Jean Marie talk to.
Used to have a smoothie under somebody else, and now Club X is taking protein drink smoothie section under their name.
Under their own, okay, makes sense.
So change in ownership.
And all the applications are complete.
Sweet, no issues. All right, I will make a motion to accept the food establishment applications as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the food establishment applications?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. So that'll pass. We've got 3 installer applications, renewals for Kruger Construction and Murphy's Brothers Excavating, and a new application for WC Excavation. Any issues with any of the applications?
Nope, they're complete.
All right. I will make a motion to accept the installer applications as presented.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussions? Hearing none. All in favor of accepting the installer applications as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Those are all accepted. Last, we have a betterment loan agreement for 42 Browns Lane. Is
The agreement's complete for the total amount, so just waiting for the board's approval.
All right. I would make a motion to accept the agreement for the 42 Browns Lane betterment loan in the amount of $62.60 as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions, discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of accepting the betterment loan application as, agreement as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I don't know what our official time is, but we're approaching hearing time. So give it another 30 seconds or so. All right, I have 5:15. We are opening a meeting under 105 CMR 410 regarding minimum standards of fitness for human habitation, State Sanitary Code, Chapter 11.
Excuse me.
Requested by Wishbone Realty Trust, Eric McCarthy, trustee, regarding 90 Central Street, Unit 1, East Bridgewater, Massachusetts, 02333. I thought we would start the hearing with our health agent, just giving us some background on some of the issues that she's seen and issues that have been presented, and then give both the trustee and the tenant an opportunity to discuss the issues.
Okay, I was called out and a request for inspection was received on 7/11. 7/16, the inspection was done. The order letter was sent 7/17. And the inspection was performed. Basically, what I found was some issues. Front door did not have a screen. The stove had been swapped out from electrical to propane, and it wasn't sure if the fittings were correct for that. I called in the plumbing and electrical inspectors because that's more what they look for than I do. Did a walkthrough. There were some little minor things like some valves didn't have covers on them. Shut-off valves didn't have covers on them. The unit is rated as a 2-bedroom, 5-room apartment. I counted 7 rooms. So it's got 2 extra bedrooms, one in the attic, which meets the definition of a bedroom, and one in the basement, which meets the definition of a bedroom. So I called her out on that. Other issues concerned trash, common lighting, and lighting of the common areas outside. Most of them are a 30-day, all of them are 30-day repairs, so I was planning to go back August 16th. Received a notice for a request for their hearing, 7/22, and that's where we are right now. So as with other housing cases, when someone requests a hearing, enforcement stops till the board makes a decision.
All right. And of the issues that you mentioned, are any of them, to your knowledge, resolved at this point?
Some of them are. I have not been back in to inspect because she asked for a hearing. As far as I know, as of today, we're waiting for a door, screen door.
Everything else is.
And everything else, the common concerns, lighting outside, that's all been repaired.
And are you the trustee?
I am.
All right. Did you want to come up and speak to us, please?
Should I sit or stand? Does it matter?
I know whatever you're more comfortable with.
Okay, all right. So my main reason for
Could you
requesting.
just state your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Erin
okay.
McCarthy, trustee of Wishbone Realty Trust, and that's 90 Central Street, Unit 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the main reason for requesting the hearing was, I think that in the correction order, the multifamily rules were applied, but this is a townhouse. That's what's on its own meters. Everything is completely separated. It's a separate building. So my ask to the board was just to see if we could apply single-family rules, which should take care of that trash and porch light issue. And I have documentation just showing each unit is under separate ownership, separate trusts. All the water bills are under separate names. All the tax bills are under separate names. And I can bring that up if you like.
So Jean, you worked with town council for the definition of,
I applied multifamily for a number of reasons. One is it's attached units. They're not freestanding single-family units. It doesn't matter about the lot lines, usually. They have a common driveway. They do common outside lights. They have property manager. Ms. McCarthy acts as the property manager for all 3 units. Mows the lawn. It's a single septic system that services all 3 units. And grounds upkeep and trash bins are provided by the property manager for all 3 units. So I got to pick a lane, and to me, this was a multifamily.
It is a condo, if I can speak, it is a condo association, so each unit is separate, and I can show pictures. It's a townhouse, a garage, so that there's no shared walls, and the trash bins are all provided by the town. It's not like a shared dumpster or anything like that.
And the main issues being impacted by the multifamily versus single-family are the lighting, the trash, and potentially the septic?
Well, the septic is one septic for all 3 units. They are attached. The units are all attached. Goes out to one tank, it goes out to one leach field. So in that case, it would be considered a multifamily under Title V. But regardless, town council said regardless of what you call the owners, the fact that one person acts as the owner's representative or the owner's agent kind of kicks it into that multifamily. The other things that go into multifamily are if you want to separately bill each tenant for water or electric, you have to have metering certificates on hand in our files at the Board of Health. We do have water, separate sub-metering water. We don't have electrical.
Well, they're all on their own meters. It is a conduit, it has been a condo association since inception in 2008. It's Cushing, Mitchell, all the docs are on file with the registry of deeds and everything.
So it's just a matter of, on the electrical side, we don't have the certificates on file.
No.
with-
Do you need a sub-meter though if it's on its own meter? Like, it's not a sub-meter, it's the whole unit has its own meter.
That's a good question.
And you have to make sure that any of the outside lights, i.e. those common like porch lights that light up a driveway, or the garage lights that light up that space, since they have a common driveway, those have to be on the owners. It depends on what town council considered multifamily, and they did consider it a multifamily because they have a person acting as the agent for all 3.
So Jean Marie, just correct me if I'm wrong here, so reading this, because each individual unit or owner does not have complete control. Where did I see it? On the residence parcel or land. So that's what's driving the
Multifamily?
multifamily.
What's driving the multifamily is I have a individual acting as the agent for all
Right,
3
right, okay,
units.
so, but again, that just is another way of saying that each individual does not have direct control, somebody else has direct control. That would be the agent.
I don't know about water and electrical, because I only saw 1 unit. So I don't know if the electrical and the water is billed separately in each one. And I do know that DPW said that the same person pays for the trash for all 3 and pays for the water.
I do have
But one of yours was individually done, right?
well, I do have the water bills and they are under the 3 trust names and.
But you were
as
the
are
agent for the
parcels.
trust, right?
The trust, yes.
Yeah, so we're back up to that one individual
But
person.
beneficiaries are owners, and they all have different trust structures, different beneficiaries.
Our regulations define an owner as a person who is an agent for the units. That
Even if
would-
they're not the owner.
No. That is the definition of an owner. Okay?
Okay.
Has care, charge, or control of any residence, parcel of land vacant or otherwise, but not limited to person, representative, agent, executor, executive administrator, trustee, or guardian of the estate or holder of the legal areas. So that's what town council has told us, that's what you're acting as.
I can, if it's helpful, can I?
Sure.
Or an officer or trustee of the association of the units of owners or condos. It's very broad, actually.
Yeah, it seems very open to interpretation.
It's broad on purpose, I think, but it's.
Well, the person who did the interpretation is our town council, so, it's
We
tough
kinda
to,
do.
it's tough to move off that. I can understand why it might be frustrating from looking at all this, and say, geez, in my mind, they're single units, a single family, and a multifamily, but under the, the wording of the law, the statute, as interpreted by our council, it's multifamily. So it'd be hard to move, it'd be hard for me to move off that without seeing anything other than, but again, I can see where in your mind's eye, you're saying, geez, they're not single family, or they're not multifamily, but, you know, in the true definition, when the rubber meets the road, it unfortunately does fall under, you know, multifamily definition.
So if I, let's say, like, let's see that each unit had a separate trustee appointed tomorrow, would it no longer be a multifamily? Because they are separate trusts.
That septic kind of drives that whole thing.
Say that again?
The septic system is one system.
Okay, that's one, but again, I don't know if, so even though you had 3 versus 1, you know, if the owner went out and hired this other agent, but it sounds like that it would be coming from you, just still having,
One agent.
you know, and it's just a number of 1 versus 3, but again, you're the one that's directing the representative, not the owner.
Well, as of right now, but I mean, they're not too happy with this whole situation. They could very well appoint a new trustee or sell the place, to be honest.
So that's one element, and again, Jean Marie brings up an excellent point about the septic.
Well, because I guess where I might be getting confused then is because it's a condo association. Like, it's had multiple owners, like, at many points in the past, and so that's where the shared septic comes from.
So, for, from a Board of Health perspective, does the multifamily moniker negatively impact you, other than what?
Well, it's applying a rule that says I have to bring all my tenants' trash barrels to the curb, which, like, to be honest, my parents aren't, like, doing that great, and I have to go up north to take care of them
Sure,
often,
sure,
so I
I just-
can't be there, you know.
I thought I read in here that
taking
somebody was taking the trash out.
trash barrels out. What's that?
I thought I read in here that somebody was taking the trash out. I
No,
must.
the tenants have always been responsible
You're
for
right,
their
okay.
own. And like in the other multifamily across the street, the same thing, they all take out their own trash barrels. And then I think the other question was just the light on the porch, which it's a covered porch, and like that light switch that controls that is in the tenant's unit or in the condo.
Yeah, that was getting me stumped.
Well, I'm not worried about the light, because she put a,
Yeah, no, I get
one
that.
on the
I read
outside that,
Oh, okay.
you know, takes care of that issue.
Sure.
As far as the tenants taking the trash to the curb, right now, I just consider that the owner's responsibility. I'm not saying you have to do it, I'm just saying it's your responsibility. You can put it in, unless it's in the lease that says, like it, for electric and water, unless it's in the lease that says it's the tenant's responsibility. So what you don't want to take care of in your responsibilities, a lot of those you can give to a tenant if you put it in the lease, if the language is in the lease. Okay? I mean, some things like the septic, you can't, but other things like who's responsible for the trash, bulk items, I would do that. The mattresses that go out, the, you know, furniture and stuff like that. Any things that are now non-recyclable that you have to pay extra for, I would probably put that in the lease that they're responsible for it. Because those can cost a chunk of change, okay? So you can all take care of that and shift that as long as it's in the lease. Am I understanding it's probably not in the leases right now?
No, I mean, all of that stuff was supplied. It was, you know, your own metered,
Yeah, I know.
you know, utilities in the lease, like there was, all of that's in there. So there was a welcome letter given, like here's all your responsibilities, so.
So that's one way of taking care of those issues. But in multifamilies over 3, the town doesn't pick up, and they actually either have to have their own pickup, or they have to have a dumpster on site that gets picked up, and that's done by the owner.
If we have to put a dumpster, like where would that go?
You don't have to.
Even if I can't take out their trash barrels?
My suggestion is with that lease is turning over, you may want to put that provision in the lease,
Okay.
that they're responsible for those things,
Okay.
okay?
And then I think we had noted on the septic that I could just, as long as it's a 2-bedroom in the lease, like, that's fine. We don't have to spend like $30,000.
That's kind of a decision of the board, just two things. One is when you do kind of bedrooms for Title V, you have over 8 rooms, and I haven't been in the other 2 units. I'm just assuming that they might be as built out as the one that I saw. So we have 2 extra rooms, 2 extra bedrooms. So what Title V says is take the number of rooms. So this unit has 6, okay? If the other 2 have 6, that means we have 18 rooms. Divide it by 2. It has to be a 9-bedroom flow design. You can get to that by 2 things. You can either add on in the reserve area. That's what reserve areas are for. You can deed restrict each unit because she's saying they're separate HOAs, separate owners. Each one has to have a deed restriction registered at the deed that says this will be no more than a 2-bedroom unit,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay? It has to be registered at the deed, so I know it's probably not because I didn't see it there. You can do that, or you can ask her to put in a denitrification unit in the tank, a micro fast, a jet, a bat, that will then increase it from a 6-bedroom to a 9-bedroom. In other words, you're taking the nitrogen out before you put it out in the ground. I ran the water readings for the last 2 years, and I'm getting between like 570 and 720. So we're hovering around the 660 with that. How much of that is outside watering? I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't, we still assume it all goes in the ground, or washing cars. I don't know. So we're at averaging capacity. So I think it's maybe a board decision to weigh in on the septic end, and then that takes care of that. When there was originally a big house there that was a 2-family, it burned down, 2008, 2007, somewhere in there. And I think I would just quickly research zoning and see what they had to say about what could go there.
Well, a builder built it in 2008, so whatever
I'm gonna assume, yeah,
he did, like, one builder built it and then.
but he
sold it
did have to go to
outside.
zoning board of appeals for some kind of variance, so
Do you know how Title V would work for that?
for,
If I'm assuming if you'd sell 1 unit, the other 2 stay in their remaining owner's hands, you wouldn't have to be inspected, or would you?
it doesn't, Title V is a septic, so,
All 3 are on 1 septic?
yes.
All 3 condos.
So how would
Into
you ever
one
know
tank,
if it
into
was,
one leaching area.
when you sell 1 unit, does it get inspected, or?
I don't, well, what happens is, if we have an inspection within 3 years for those units, that inspection would carry over to whichever the units got sold. As long as I had an inspection done within the last 3 years, that would be used for a Title V inspection.
But otherwise, the sale of 1 unit would prompt an
Trigger
inspection,
a
just
Title
like
V
others.
inspection, yep. That's why I'm saying you'd have to put the deed restriction on each unit, because we're being told they're separate owners. So it have to be on each deed. Any thoughts?
And I think that the basement area was not a habitable room,
What
right? 'Cause it
code are
didn't
you
have-
going by?
Oh, I thought that's what we had talked about, sorry, no?
Title V bedrooms are at least 7 by 10 with a window and ventilation, with a door and ventilation.
Oh, because the
That-
basement is just storage, it doesn't have any windows.
It doesn't need to, it has to have ventilation.
Okay.
So that's, where I was with that.
Oh, like with the,
That's why I only added 1 more bedroom to each unit.
right.
The-
Okay.
The attic one is definitely considered, quote, a bedroom, both by Title V and housing.
Even though you have to walk through a bedroom to get to it?
Yeah, it's got a door for privacy and windows. It's only a conditioning unit, and it's a decent size, so.
Yeah, it definitely was not intended to be a
I don't,
bedroom.
yeah, but we don't have any benefit of permits for that, so I don't know what the intention was.
I bought it like
I'm
that.
not-
I
I'm not
just put
saying
in
you.
flooring and paint
That's
and,
it.
So if assuming they're okay with the deed restrictions,
We can
that-
leave it at that, is that what you?
would that be specific?
To a two-bedroom? Yeah.
And that would be specifically with the existing septic?
Mhm.
So if they wanted to theoretically upgrade the septic
They could do that too.
and add bedrooms,
They could
that
do-
would be possible.
Yeah, that's one option.
Okay, at some point in the future.
It does give you that option, seriously.
Okay,
And then you could take the deed restriction off,
okay.
all right?
What do I need to do to make that happen?
I will send you something.
Okay, yep, no, totally fair. Yep, sounds good.
We have like a standard deed restriction form, so I can send that. I just want to double check with zoning to make sure that, and I think we will be if we do that,
Okay, great.
all right? So the only other thing would be the screen door.
Yes, we are waiting on that. I have that ordered. There's just a huge lead time with Home Depot. But everything else has been taken care of. They've been up to measure,
Mhm.
so we're just waiting for the delivery of the door.
So, does it make sense to take action on sort of both now, or does it make sense to wait until the door is delivered and?
Well,
make
I
sure
closed
everything is-
the inspection, you guys don't, but what I need you guys to do is, uphold the order letter, modify the order letter, or withdraw the order letter.
Okay, so the order letter, is the order letter in here,
Yes.
packet?
Yes.
Your correction of order.
Should be. If not,
Dated July 16th.
yeah.
I highlighted the top. It says correction order. It looks like this.
You need a
You might have
copy?
gone past it.
So like what?
Yeah, do you want to take a look at it?
Oh, that's the cover. I got it.
No, you got it. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So you're scheduled to go out for a reinspection on the 16th?
That's a 30-day, yeah.
Okay. Can we revisit all this then?
Mhm. If it's corrected, I'm just gonna write an order,
Yeah.
you know, it's completed.
And then, so after the 16th, so our meeting's on the 19th, so would we provide a final, like, order that would include having the titles deeded?
I
appropriately?
think by then she can put the deed restrictions on if she decides to go that way, or she can submit plans for the expansion.
Okay, so by the
then.
16th, all of this could go away?
Yep,
Okay.
could be corrected, yes.
The only thing is the door, it's not gonna come by the 16th, but if you are willing to inspect everything else, we could do that anytime.
What's the ETA on the door?
The 28th, I have the receipt.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Okay.
And the
Um,
code requires that they make a
so if
good
you-
faith effort.
What was that?
The code requires that she makes a good faith effort, which I consider.
To me,
if
it's
she's-
pretty good faith.
Yeah,
it's
no,
ordered.
exactly, that's what I'm trying to say to you. Yeah,
Right.
So we can roll on with the good faith effort on the 16th. Okay, all right, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I know the tenant is here. Give her an opportunity if she
Yep.
wanted to speak and raise any potential issues.
Comments, concerns?
The
Chris?
only note that I would make is she's moved out as of 31st.
Okay.
okay,
Oh.
she's still,
I'm sorry, July or August?
No,
July.
yeah.
Okay.
no, we understand that.
Third, 31st, no, I don't think
This is Jessica Barrows. She is the tenant that requested the inspection.
Hi.
Aye.
So yes, I'm the tenant who requested the inspection, and originally I had called.
I'm sorry, could you just state your name and address for the?
Sure, Jessica Barrows. I don't currently have an address because I was displaced and I'm living between family homes until I can get a new place, so I don't have an address on file to give you, but I was the tenant at 90 Central Street, apartment 3. I had originally called Miss Joyce out of concern for not having a screen door and receiving a response to, which in my opinion, in knowing the law, was unacceptable. I hadn't had a screen door since the 24th of May. Always paid my rent on time, and the response that I got is basically, you will get it when we get it and it gets installed. And when I first brought up that response, it was a total of 17 days before I got a response to that, and I had been without a screen door for a long period of time. And again, I have this all documented in emails. I have text messages, but what also prompted me to call Ms. Joyce was that I smelt gas coming from the stove, and I was asked by Ms. McCarthy, what could she do to keep me from calling 911? My point here is that there has been a callous disregard for my concerns for the human life of myself and my daughter. I'd heard her talking about how she has family issues. Even though I've had plenty of family issues, I have done my part as a tenant. I understand that some people think being a landlord is, passive income, but there are rules and regulations and there are laws that you must abide by. And I feel like in this case, there's been egregious just violations of the law. I was illegally charged for trash. We have resolved that issue. My understanding of sub-meter in the state of Massachusetts, if you are going to sub-meter electricity, that bill should be going to the landlord and then coming to the tenant. That's my understanding from what I've read about the law. And my understanding of what qualifies as a multifamily, from my understanding of the law, is something that is decided by the bylaws of the town, right? I'm literally confused by everything that has happened, and why there was such a, I don't know if it's lack of understanding or just ignoring of the law, but if I had not made a call, I doubt that any of these things, I pretty much feel like it would have went undetected. And someone else would have been put in danger and risk, like my daughter was at the time when Ms. Joyce came in. Her husband proceeded to move forward with the installation of a stove when the building inspector said not to because there was no permit. The end result, the next day, I came home to my door being open. When I had closed it, there was a propane gas leak. Had my daughter slept in that apartment, I don't know if we would have woke up. I don't know what the consequences would have been. But I was told time and time again in email by Ms. McCarthy that there was nothing else left to do but to move forward with the installation of this electrical stove. And as a tenant, I was placed in the position to take the appropriate measures to ensure the safety of myself and my daughter. I asked for an early lease let-out because I knew for sure that there were going to be violations. I knew that my rights have been violated, and I knew that I was also facing retaliatory actions. In regards to the trash during my tenancy, the lease, which I have a copy for both lease for you, it does state in the lease that I was responsible for trash. I do have emails of this as well as text messages from her and her husband. My trash bins would just go missing, or they would just be full. And they would be left there for me to lug this all the way down. First of all, lugging out trash that's not my own and then not having a trash bin to put in my trash. And I actually have text messages where I can provide to you via email if you need them, but just basically saying, hey, what do I do with my trash? Should I keep it in the garage? No, please don't do that. It will create magnets, and this happens several times. as soon as I had addressed her about other issues with her husband, which included harassment and breach of quiet enjoyment, the response from Erin became, we were just taking the trash bins out to be nice. So now you have to take out the trash bins. My point is that certain things are not a matter of convenience. And I had no problem with taking out the trash if it was in the lease. I was willing to do it, but lots of times I didn't have the receptacles to be able to do that, and would be left with trash and recyclables in my home. So I'm not quite sure I feel like the good faith effort has happened here, because now, obviously there are some larger issues. My understanding of the lease that I signed, the only person I ever met that was the owner was her. Okay, at the time, the other unit was occupied by somebody who owned it. She bought it. In my understanding, it's one parcel of land. There's three units. They may be separate in that sense that they're 3 different townhouses, but there's one owner and it's a multi-family. The electricity was, in my name. What I thought was weird, and I have text messages of this as well that I can prepare. I apologize because, like I said, I'm still displaced. Basically saying to her husband, "Hey, you know what? My light still won't go off. Can I turn off the light?" And he's saying it's pennies. The point that it's pennies doesn't concern me. I'm paying for it, and it's on my bill. And I don't know how that light is going on, but it's going on, and I'm not out there, right? So now I fear that I've been illegally charged for electricity because, like it's been acknowledged, there isn't a certificate on file. And if she was indeed submetering, the law says that the bill should have went to her and then came to me. My reason for being here today, I'm concerned that, the next tenant may have to go through the same thing I did. And obviously I had to sacrifice a whole lot to get me and my daughter out of there, including exorbitant moving costs because she wouldn't agree to an early let out until she got the correction order, and then it became retaliatory. Let me pay you out of here so I can get you out of here. And then I'm getting an electricity bill that I've never really gotten. I haven't been in the unit since July 4th. I don't know why my electricity bill is $190 this month. So as you can imagine, I definitely feel like there's been some code violations here. Not having a screen on my door with a small child had me, I had to keep her away from the door so she wouldn't lean up and not fall out. I couldn't open the door when we had the gas problem. I couldn't open the front. If I opened up the front door, then other things could come into the house. Whatever, animals are out there, whatever. So, to me, when I look at some of these things, it just seems like it was a callous disregard. It was like, it's not convenient for me because I don't have time for this, but I have time to collect your rent on time when it comes. I have time to cash it, but I don't have time to do my part as a landlord. The requests were not anything that was exorbitant. They were things that were afforded to me under the law. And I had to take action because my fear was that there was going to be an explosion or something like that on the site, because the unit already, and I have plenty of this too, had electrical issues. The breaker was going off every 2 to 3 days. And again, there was no permits on file to do any of this work. And my fear is that the next set of people may be at the same dangers of health and safety that me and my daughter was. And this is going on 2 leases. And that's of huge concern to me. The lack of regard and value for human life here is huge. Forget the money. You don't take money to the grave. But somebody could have been hurt in these circumstances. And I feel like that, for me, is the main health and safety issue here. That you can go and you can you can go in the gray areas or whatever, but the point is like if something's a law and you're a landlord and you're a tenant, you need to abide by it, right? You need to abide by it. And if you need to find, things that the law allows, then you need to go the appropriate avenue to do that rather than put people's lives at risk, right? And I was left to have to figure out these avenues on my own and, think, okay, I should call the building inspector at this point because they're moving forward with the installation of the stove, and I think that it's dangerous, right? And just like I suspected, a propane leak happened, right? But to me, I'm not convinced on the good faith because my history has been that there's been a lot of hiding. Please don't call the authorities. Please don't call the fire department. Please don't, right? So if you're telling me not to do that, my assumption is you have to be hiding something. And I have to be at risk because that's a civil right. That's my right to be able to call somebody if I feel like there is an emergency. It's protocol. So, like I said, I can provide you with copies of what I do have. For example, this will give conversation on the trash bins and the door. I do have just so you can see like my last bill, which is $190, which to me doesn't make sense. They want me to pay for an electrician to come out and figure out if this has been cost metered. I don't understand why that's my responsibility because I haven't done anything wrong. I do have here the property record that does list the unit that I was in as a condo. Okay, so it is listed as a condo. I think I give you extra copies and stuff. I should just give me one.
Jean Marie, you mentioned the electrical inspector was out? Is that,
He has been, yes.
was that for the stove or?
There was a propane stove in there, it was taken out. The propane line was not capped properly. And that's when I was out there and I called it. And that's why the fire department was out there. So propane is under the plumbing inspector, which is why I notified him, and they hadn't put in the right fittings for the new stove, the electric. So that's why we notified the electric inspector.
I'm confused about the term fitting for the electric stove.
You need a 220 plug.
Okay, all right,
Not-
so it's
not-
the outlet in the pigtail
not,
or the
you
cord.
know.
Right, no, I understand that.
Right.
But when, I thought there was, you were using the word term fitting for plumbing.
Plumbing,
But-
there's a
Okay, no, I,
pipe and you
okay.
gotta put the
I
right-
I understand now, I get it. Okay.
Sorry, maybe I'm not using the
Crystal
right
clear,
terms.
crystal clear.
Sorry about that.
So Home Depot did the installation?
No, so what happened was the propane stove was removed
Yeah.
and the new electric stove was installed. The plug was put in, I have both the permits are all set. for
Okay, all right,
gas.
that was my next question. Usually, large retailers that do installation like Home Depot or, I used to work for Sears, major home appliances, but anyway, that's
We have a
neither there.
licensed electrician,
The-
licensed master plumber.
Yeah, and then they would pull the actual permits a day or two later, and, they'd go in with a stack instead of just one, so. But eventually, the permits got pulled in accordance to,
right here, they're
okay,
all
that's
set up.
okay, that's okay.
As far as compensation or monetary damages, I have explained to Ms. Barrows that that is not
Right.
the Board of Health's purview. She needs to appeal that through another avenue, basically housing court. And I did give her the information regarding free legal aid and legal tenants' rights to remedies. So she has all that.
So I'm just submitting, the evidence that I had of the violations. And again, they're just kind of like some text messages.
We have all the violations, it's here in the letter.
Okay.
So, when you contacted the Board of Health, Jean Marie went right out and inspected and get the ball rolling, if you will. So, you know, we sent a letter to the landlord, and from where I'm sitting, now again, I know that may not be your experience, and I understand that, but that's why we're here. It's like when somebody runs into a roadblock, you can reach out to us, and we can do what we can to help. But it's all done by code. And Jean Marie, from what I've read, did her due diligence above and beyond, wrote up what needed to be done, worked with the landlord to get it done, and right now we only have one open issue, which is the screen door, which has been ordered and should be here shortly. And just kind of jump on Jean Marie's point, again, we can't issue any type of what you might consider, you know, justice other than the code. We cannot, we're not a.
No, I'm not.
We're not
I'm
a,
not
we're
looking
not
for
a
that.
court of law.
I'm already taking care of that on my own.
Okay, all right, well, fair enough. Well, well, I mean, I should say congratulations, I wish you the best with that. I know that, you know, the courts and the legal system runs a little bit slow, but just gotta stick with it.
Right. I just wanted to present my concern of, you know, the history that I've had. Like, it may seem like it's good faith, but like I said, I'm just giving you my perspective
Sure.
and my concern.
And I, for one, appreciate it. I know, I'm sure the board does too, as well as Jean Marie. Right, I'm gonna shut up now.
No, I agree. I mean, it's you know, some of it is a moot issue. One, because some of the issues have been fixed, and also because
Right.
you're no longer in the unit. But I appreciate you bringing those concerns to us, and
Okay.
you know, and they will be in the file. So if we get to another issue where, you know, we're looking at good faith, you know, we have some context from you as well.
Okay.
On those issues.
All right. Well, thank you.
No, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Good luck now.
Thanks.
So I guess we're gonna hold off on both issues until our next meeting.
Okay,
Which would be after your next inspection, or follow-up inspection,
or whenever the screen door
right
gets
on
in.
the 16th,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yep,
And-
so-
Excellent.
And so just procedurally, we're gonna
Can I respond to that, or?
There's no, we're not here to find right or wrong. If there was something that pertained to what we found as a board as far as any open issues, sure, you can have at it, but again, the only open issue that we've discussed is the screen door, which I think the board's satisfied as to where we are. Otherwise, we could be here for days just doing it back and forth and having everybody get their response to. So, but it's Tom's meeting,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
I'll let him.
if you think there's something
Say
that
I was gonna
we need to
shut up.
know that is,
I can be done in 2 minutes.
sure.
Okay.
All I really have to say to all of that is that the tenant gave me notice on July 8th, asked for early lease termination, I agreed. On July 11th, she asked for rent back and not to pay rent in August, and had like an unspecified August move-out date. I declined. On July 14th, she said, yep, I will move out on July 31st, but again, made a vague and unspecified demand for rent reduction and return of rent monies. Again, I declined. At that point, she filed with the Board of Health. She sent me 15 emails totaling 3,324 words. And so just, you know, all of that, like, was done as, I know that in Massachusetts, the tenant can't retaliate against the landlord, but if the law went both ways, I would see it that way. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
All right, so
We're continuing the hearing?
we will continue the hearing until our next meeting, which is, again, on the
August
9th?
19th.
19th, 18th? I'm sorry.
19th.
19th.
19th, okay. August 19th. And we will, we'll see where we are with the outstanding issues at that point. I don't recall if we had any other business other than
Jean
the
Marie's health agent.
continued hearing and the health, we have the health agent update, and also action on the one application that wasn't.
Oh, that would have
Agent
been.
Number 4?
Yep, that will come out of her health agent when she gets down there.
So we ready for health agent update?
And are all of these, sorry, before we let them go, all of these papers, these are all copies that we can keep at the file?
Yes.
Okay. All right, health agent update.
Okay, site assignments, Burke's, Obholes, Deepholes. Repair for 505 North Central Street. Plans submitted. New construction, we have obviously the comprehensive permit for the 40B between North Bedford Street and Winter Street is still in progress. We do not have septic plans for exceeding the 10,000 gallons per day threshold allowed under 310 CMR 15. The zoning board will next hear on August 7th, Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The junior, senior high school, they sent me a list of concerns concerning Board of Health. Did I send that off to you guys? If not, I will get it to you. Basically, it was a septic. Also a reminder that we do Chapter 2 housing code, so I need to see the internal plans that they are proposing a communal condo apartment swimming pool. So if that will need a Board of Health permit. And if they have a hospitality / coffee shop sort of food thing, that will need Board of Health approval, okay? I'm asking the board to endorse the idea of using an environmental consultant, Environmental Partners, to look at the septic and review the septic, because I'm not sure whether it's going Title V septic yet or groundwater discharge permit. And as we float back and forth across that determination, I think it would be helpful to have a consulting firm take a peek at it. You know, it's so big and it's got a really broad scope. 16 Marvell Street, we talked
Okay,
about.
I'm sorry, Jim, I just got a quick question on this
Go ahead.
one. So so they submitted plans to us, which we declined because it was greater than 10,000 gallons per day. And then there's a next sentence says, need to be submitted by the applicant to DEP, okay, for groundwater discharge, okay, we've got that. Then the next one says, both plans previously submitted and recently submitted. Okay, so which plans are those?
But I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. Both the plan that was submitted to, the 3 plans and permits that were submitted to us,
Okay,
and the one that they submitted to the zoning board of appeals,
right,
that's the other plan.
okay.
That
so-
shows the septic on it too.
Okay, so we discussed briefly at the last meeting about that went to is it a different plan, or is it the same one that we rejected?
It's the same one we rejected.
Okay. And they're aware of it, their board and their chairperson is aware that we rejected that plan, even though they resubmitted it to zoning?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. And
And as of yet, we don't know if they've approached DEP on their,
I know they haven't.
they have not, okay?
They're maintaining that since they're doing it in 3 different phases, and
Yeah.
2 of the 3 phases are under 10,000 gallons a day, that the Board of
Right.
Health has approval.
Okay. Have they voiced that in a letter, or?
Yes, sort of. I wrote a letter, I should have sent it to them. I wrote a letter saying, these are our concerns.
Mhm.
And they wrote back saying, they consider it 3 separate lots under 3 separate ownership, therefore it's not subjected to the contiguous rule and
Right.
that kind of a thing. They did send me a letter that reflects everything that we've said and we've done. They don't feel they need Board of Health approval for apartments, and the others they haven't even done, so. You know what, let me send you that. I just got it Sunday
Okay,
night.
all right, fair enough. No, I understand, it just came in.
So you know that what's.
But they were under the impression even for apartments, they don't need a permit for ground discharge?
That goes to the sewer.
Oh, gotcha, okay, gotcha.
That's why I'm
right.
saying
That's right.
maybe
I
it's
forgot
best to
about
have a big environmental partner take a peek at it.
that. Right, okay.
Because it's multifaceted.
And then, this is my last question on this. So,
Sure.
on the apartment issue, are they working with the sewer commission here in town?
I
I mean, imagine they are, if they're gonna connect to
I assume they are.
pipe
but
that's not there yet.
That's not, it's not in the ground yet, so
Okay.
I think that project might be like on hold for a tad.
Okay, all right, thank you.
16 Marble Way, we talked about it. New plan submitted by Webby. Applicant has not demonstrated adequate soils. Repair for 632 Crescent Street. When it came in, neither one of us, there was no variance request on it, but then in further review of it, I realized they were using a sieve analysis and not perk test. So that's why I said to you, that's a variance that's needed. Or policy approval that's needed, since it says policy from DEP. So we use it as a variance.
So essentially, they're just requesting a variance for sieve versus a perk test.
Yes, which can be done with repairs.
Any
No,
issues with doing so?
no concerns, no.
I would accept the motion to accept the application for a variance to a sieve test as opposed to a perk test on 632 Crescent Street.
I'll make that motion.
Second the motion?
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that variance is granted.
We talked about 359, 269 West Street. That's just the code references for you guys. Systems under construction. New construction, we have 30 Purrs Path, which is off of Bridge Street. Repairs, 3 Parish Farm Road, 1 Childers Lane, 259 West Street, 42 Browns Lane, 35 Dean Place, and 1670 Central. Food inspections. Haven't done as many as I wanted to. It's been busy. There was a complaint at Ashland Farms. I reminded them that everybody has to have hair restraints unless you're bald. So baseball cap, bandana, pull it back in a butt, whatever. Changing ownership for Subway, I did an inspection there. Housing, we have 3, 1 new one and 3 ongoings. 90 Central Street, you heard tonight. 89 Whitman Street and 165 Bridge Street have been reactivated.
So 165, was that the property where there
Camper?
was a senior person and somebody was living in?
Yes, and someone brought a camper on site.
Right. So
When
what's
they
happening?
fought, the husband slept in the camper?
One of the people is,
Was that the?
they're sleeping in the campers. They all sort of got quiet for a while. Some may have gone off to rehab, someone else, in other words, there was no one at the property for a while. Like,
So what's happening now?
I guess they're back living there. So I have a site inspection with the building inspector next week or the week after. We hadn't quite firmed that one up.
Do you need to bring an officer with you? Wasn't there a concern earlier?
We probably will.
Okay.
I didn't want to tip our hand. I have a
Sorry.
same.
Millions of viewers now know.
Sometimes it's not a good idea.
Okay, sorry about
We
that.
have another housing inspection request came in today for,
And then Whitman Street, I thought that was behind us.
Yeah, that was my question.
yeah, we thought so too. No. He has other concerns, for lack of a better word. You'd like me to update you? The other one that just popped today was 61 Old Bedford Street. There's an apartment in the basement, and there's some concern. So that one will be done this week. I just got it today, so we're on that. Pool, YMCA camp inspection. As with everything else, since they've had a number of injuries, I have to do follow-up inspections to that. Bridge Street landfill repairs, the RFP request for bids was sent out last Wednesday. We had a site inspection today. We had 4 people show up. That's not bad.
No.
And that's moving in its progression. You will be getting bids, and you can open them August 19th. You can delay your decision if you want to vest them or, check them out or whatever. But at least August 19th, you'll be opening them, okay? There's a binder in the Board of Health office with all the info if you need it. Notification letters were sent out to neighbors saying, hi, this is what we're doing, as a reminder. It's not public property. You need to not go for walks and take your pets over there, sort of a thing. Public health concerns. We have dangerous heat has been going off and on all summer. And the cooling stations are Town Hall, the library, Council on Aging. West Nile virus in East Tripoli. We have been upgraded as of Friday from mild to moderate risk. The towns of Carver and Middleborough, because the mosquito, there's a bunch of different mosquito populations. Some just bite birds. They all have West Nile and Tripoli in them. It has, in Carver and Middleborough, it's moved over to the mammal-biting mosquitoes, the ones that like us. So they have been upgraded. Those 2 towns are upgraded to serious. So if any residents are traveling in that area, they should bring their bug spray. Also, we have been notified that the new DENQUE and I'm gonna get chikungunya are 2 African mosquito-borne diseases that are starting to show up. They're not really sure why the transmission. We have about 25 people in Massachusetts that are one or the other. But it may be that the mosquito bites someone with it, and then it bites somebody else. So it's being transferred that way. So it's a time to spray up when you're up and about. HEG, we received, as we do occasionally receive things from them, we usually get between 45 and 50 or 45 and 60 units of first aid kits, tick removal kits, sunglasses. It's not a lot to do with, to have open at the Board of Health, so we generally give them to the Council on Aging or the Veterans Agent. It's kind of a small number to try and manage, to be honest with you. And just a reminder, I will be taking vacation on August 12th and 13th. Any questions?
Don't think so.
Thank you.
All right. Then we will adjourn. We will be, just as a reminder, we will be continuing the hearing on to our next meeting, August
19th.
19th. And if we have nothing else, anyone?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
I will second that motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor of motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye. We are officially adjourned, and we'll be back on the 19th.